Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Activity Strong webinar. My name is Meg Laporte, and I am a member of the Link Senior Marketing team. For today's webinar, we are providing one free NAB, NCAP, NCCDP, NCTRC, and NZSRDT CEU credit. To be eligible for the CEU credit, you must remain on the webinar for the full hour. Near the end of the webinar, I will provide a post-webinar CEU survey evaluation link in the chat box, and it will also be sent to everyone by email this afternoon, so please check your spam folder. The survey must be completed by midnight Eastern time this Thursday, and if you have any questions, please email us at webinars@linksenior.com. CEU certificates will be issued by email before the end of the day on Friday. So take it away, Charles.
Thank you so much, Meg. Welcome everyone for our last Activity Strong webinar of the year. I have to say that it's been an amazing year, and yeah, so excited about the topic today. As a sorry, I was pausing. So we're very excited to invite again Dr. Jennifer Taylor and Tara DeLong. I would say, just to give you a little heads up, is that we also have a very special guest, like a surprise guest that we'll quote unquote formally introduce in a few minutes. But like Meg said, my name is Charles Villeneuve. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Link Senior. We are the company that started the Activity Strong initiatives. But I would also say that we do this in partnership with three amazing organizations that include NAP, NCAP, and NCCAP. Today, we're going to be talking about animal-assisted therapy in senior living, how we go from start to success. And before we get started, just as a brief reminder, as you probably figure out, the chat gets really busy. If you want everyone to see your valuable contribution, just make sure that you select everyone instead of the panelist. And if you want questions directed directly to our speakers, perhaps consider using the Q&A feature, as it makes it easier for us to filter. So just to give you a little bit of background on who we are, what we do, like I mentioned, our company is called Link Senior. We're based in Washington, D.C. We started what we call the Old People Are Cool initiatives a few years ago, on the premise that we're not fan of segregation based on age. We think that everyone is cool, including our elders, our residents, and then obviously Activity Strong, which has become probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, platform to educate, empower, and elevate activity and life enrichment professionals out there. So as a note, thank you very much for all that you've done. I know that the holiday adds a lot of pressure and stress, and this year has not been one of the easiest. So thank you for the work that you do. We obviously believe that you all are essential. To give you a very quick snapshot, our company, Link Senior, provides a resident engagement platform. And so we're very fortunate to partner with amazing organizations out there. And if you have any questions about our work, briefly, it's all about elevating engagement, allowing you, the professional, to spend more meaningful time with your residents. We're proud of the work that we do. It is, quote unquote, evidence-based through a peer-reviewed journal publication. And if you have any questions on any of these, please feel free to reach out. So there are many different reasons why I'm excited to get to introduce our panelists in a second, but I just want to start by thanking you, Dr. Jennifer Taylor. Jen, thanking you for coming back, and thanking you also, Tara, for coming. We're going to be talking about animal-assisted therapy, and our webinar objectives are listed here. And Dr. Jennifer Taylor is the Assistant Professor and Director of the Health Science Interprofessional Research Center at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. And Tara DeLong is the Associate Teaching Professor, RT Internship Coordinator. And now is the time for us all to welcome our third esteemed, I don't know if he's a panelist, let's call him at least a participant, and he goes by the name of Rossi. So thank you all three for being with us, and I'll let you screen share and take it away. And thanks again for being with us today, Jen and Tara, and Rossi.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much. Rossi has his bow tie on. This is his first formal webinar. So something that we will absolutely never forget. So I just want to thank Charles for that very formal and professional introduction. This is more my speed, guys. I'll just let you know right now that I am an activity director at the Core. I went back to school to become Dr. Taylor, but I'm really Jen, like it's Jen. And I love working with older adults. I've worked in Parks and Rec, being a senior center director in that kind of venue, and then went on to work in long-term care, memory care, hospice, and then did a corporate training for a bunch of different organizations there in the Midwest. So I'm thrilled to be back here, and really, yeah, Rossi's just going to probably steal the show today. I'll just let you know. So we're going to go through some information that we have learned over the course of the last year, because when we started, we did not find this information anywhere. So we kind of put together what we've learned, and Tara DeLong is here, and the esteemed handler, and also she's kind of my crime partner. You have to have one of those at work that's like willing to believe in these like wild ideas and just say, yeah, we can probably, yeah, sure. So I hope you have someone like that in your professional life, because it really wasn't, this would not have been possible without Tara and a team of people. So we're going to go through this, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. I will tell you that there's a lot of information on these slides. And so I left everything there so that you could go back through it. So our goal is not to get through every word on the slide. Our goal is to really get you as much information as possible. And then again, this will be available for you, so you can go back through it and just kind of say, oh, what was that? What were those steps? So don't feel like you have to take notes at all. I'm happy to share. I'm definitely an open book because people were so amazingly gracious and generous with me as we were starting this process. So away we go. Let's see. Oh, a little technical. Let's see. Advance. There we go. Okay. So as Charles mentioned, I did that, but it didn't work. Okay, we'll try it again. Okay, so as Charles mentioned, our session objectives, always important when you're attending CEUs. The big thing is really that we're going to identify 3 lessons learned. And that's like really kind of the secret, not secret information, but information that I wish I would have known before starting. And so that we can pass that on to you all that are maybe thinking about starting a facility dog program. We also are going to be able to verbalize 2 robotic animal sessions for use in senior living. So we're also going to kind of touch on that. I think we'll probably need a whole nother session for these robotic animals. They're called socially assisted robots, but today we're just going to kind of spark your curiosity a little bit if you haven't used them. Lastly, we're going to be able to state 2 client outcomes, because that's really what the animals are all about. They're amazing, but in the end, it's all about our clients. It's all about our residents. And so we need to be able to state those benefits about utilizing facility dogs. I am a recreational therapist. I've been a recreational therapist. Oh gosh. Am I coming up on 20 years? How'd that happen? So I'm coming up on 20 years as a recreational therapist, which just came to my mind. So that's pretty wild. And Tara is also a recreational therapist and has tons of clinical experience. So together, we really want to just present this information so that hopefully we can provide you with a lot of good as we go along. So our first kind of what we're going over, a little bit about where we kind of started and introductions to the program. Our program is called the Dr. Wags program. And we have a team of people. And so the first person on that team, I am merely the administrator. So I serve as the director of the Health Science Interprofessional Research Center. We're a research center here on campus that kind of brought together recreational therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, exercise, sport and science, athletic training, and then public health and community health have also come on board. And so we wanted to start a program that would kind of bring the disciplines together. And then that was really where this idea came from. So I am not the dog handler at all, and I don't have to be the administrator of the program. I really assist and support with the paperwork, the press releases, the newspaper articles, a lot of the kind of information and behind the scenes, MOUs, insurance, dog licensing, that kind of all falls under what I do. And also my biggest kind of role is that I care for the handlers of the program. And I really do mean that, because our handlers, as a lot of them will have a huge amount of passion and they say yes a lot. And my job is to kind of help them say no, which if any of you know me, I think you'll just be laughing out loud that I had to learn how to do that, because again, I'm naturally a yes person too. But so this has been a great growth opportunity. So we do have 2 handlers, and we would recommend this. We're going to go through the steps a little bit. So Laura Schaefer, she's actually from our occupational therapy program. She's the primary dog handler. And then Tara DeLong is our secondary dog handler. So both handlers are trained. Both handlers can do everything with the dog the same. It's just that the dog lives at the primary dog handler's home. And then, but if the primary dog handler maybe is going away for a trip or something like that, having that secondary handler, it also really expanded us so that we could work in multiple programs, right? So it's not just, again, falling all on one person. So as I mentioned, our research center, it's a new center as well. This was our first project, if you can believe it, like way to just take a bite and jump in the pool. But we are an interprofessional team. And then our other big part was that we have student research assistants. So this is a great project for students to work on and learn side by side. And they really assisted. They're excited. They just got another grant to do some education and some different programs with the dog. So Rossi, he's the facility dog, which we'll go over those definitions. He is just over 2 years old. He was trained with a puppy raiser. He advanced and received advanced training in Ohio. He graduated from Canine Companions in 2023 as a facility dog. So that is really the introductions to our program. That's weird. Oh, it was. Okay, well, there you go. So just some definitions, if this is all new to you, or maybe even I thought I kind of maybe knew some of the definitions, but these are definitions that Canine Companions uses so that we can all be speaking the same language, because you'll hear a lot about therapy dogs, and you'll hear a lot about animal-assisted therapy. So just the first and foremost, animal-assisted therapy, AAT, versus animal-assisted intervention, AAI. So if you can think of animal-assisted interventions, it's a broader term. It kind of it's so that you can use a variety of species and all kinds of different activities, and not necessarily even that direct therapy component. Rossi just may be in the room sometimes. And so that's also kind of with the animal-assisted intervention aspect of it. We use the term animal-assisted intervention for our Dr. Wags program, because we use a facility dog as well as socially assisted robots. And then we also may use therapy dogs in the future. So we are looking to grow the program over the years, slow growth really, because we had a lot of fast growth this year. So we kind of want to grow as through therapy dogs as well. So you kind of got to decide on what you want to even call the program. I do recommend the animal assisted intervention, that AAI, because it does provide for just some broader programs to kind of come out of it. Like if you do have someone visiting, we used to have a woman that had a barn on wheels. And so she had chickens coming and sheep coming and goats coming and miniature horses. And those were all fell into the animal assisted intervention. She wasn't necessarily doing direct therapy. She was actually just having that presence of the animal there, maybe doing a little bit of brushing, but she really used a lot of different kind of species. And then again, with the socially assisted robots.
So the other thing I would add, and at least what we talked about with the students this semester, is that when we think about therapy, we're really thinking about those therapy environments. And so to be true to the work, you're really delivering therapy using the animal in a very specific way. So just being thoughtful about that.
Yeah. Now, this is the slide where I said this is a ton of information, but this has actually been one of the most helpful pieces of information. So like putting things in an email, because a lot of times we'll say, oh, this is a therapy dog. And it's like, oh, actually it's not. Oh, is it an emotional support animal? No. Is it a service dog? No, it's a facility dog. So these are all the differences. You can kind of peruse that on your own time. These are not service dogs, because again, service dogs are they're individually trained to work with people with disabilities. Now, Rossi has been taught commands that service dogs would use. However, he is a facility dog meant to be in a facility and assisting like more of that group of people in that facility as a whole. So that's kind of the reason why we went with a facility dog rather than a therapy dog. was because we are teaching allied health professional students, and they are going to be working with people with disabilities and service dogs in the future. So we really wanted to show them and teach them commands that service dogs are capable of doing, and we are able to do that through this facility dog mechanism. So you can print up, if you do go forward with the program, this is a great piece that you can literally copy and paste from this slide and print up like little cards, so flyers, whatever, so that you can talk to people about the difference between these things. Because again, emotional support animal, therapy dog, facility dog, and service dog. So why do these differences matter? So this was it was a great, just some research about why we want to define that we have a facility dog who has been trained, right? This is not a therapy dog who has kind of received a certification. This is actually a dog that's been bred and trained to be a facility dog. So people with disabilities, they actually reported some pretty big challenges. So 93% of service dog users have encountered poorly trained dogs, right? So when they're out in public, 79% had an uncontrolled dog snap, bite, bark, or interfere with their service dog. And then 80% report that poorly trained dogs have negatively impacted independence and quality of life. So this is why you want to make sure that you're defining what type of dogs you're using, what your program, and again, you can have therapy dogs, but also being sure to educate people on the difference between a therapy dog and a facility dog. Okay, so this is the juicy stuff. This is like lessons learned. And so we came up with just 10, and I'm not going to lie, these are not so easy steps. It's like, oh, this is so nice. It fit on two little slides. Well, yes, but there was a lot that went into that slide. So the first one really is that get a team together. And I really recommend an interprofessional team. So talking to your PT or OT, seeing who else you can bring on board, because it is a Herculean effort. I'm not going to lie. Like, we had a lot of great people working on this. I could not have done this alone, and definitely not in the literal year that it took. So most of the time, a process like this takes about 2.5 years. There's a reason why it does, because the amount of steps and information that you have to kind of go through is quite a bit. So that's the first thing. So get on board, and then also your program administrator. So have your administrative director of the actual facility. You really got to be able to talk them through this process. Connecting with subject matter experts would be our next thing. We didn't have any other university in Wisconsin that had any kind of facility dog. And so we reached out to other universities, and again, other settings. And then we also have a veterinarian on staff, which I didn't even know we had until we starting this process. We also talked to, I had a couple of friends that were handlers and administrator who had run a facility dog program in California for many years. And those conversations, it was so informational. And that was their biggest thing, was have a team. You don't do this alone, because it's too much. It's definitely too much. So third step, research certifying bodies for facility dogs and reviewing the application and interview process. So we actually looked at like 3 different organizations, and we went with the Canine Companions. And Canine Companions is a nonprofit, so they depend on donations. And what this also did was we actually are provided the dog free of charge, a facility dog free of charge. Yes, you heard that right, free of charge for the facility dog. However, the training and everything that they receive is valued at $50,000. So this is why it's kind of an easier sell to those program administrators for Canine Companions, because it doesn't have a cost to the facility at all, except for the traveling to go there for the interview and the traveling to pick up the dog. And even where we're at, they have a regional training center where they actually provide lodging even for you to stay there for that week. So you have to decide what's right for you. Another reason why I went with Canine Companions, my friends that were dog handlers in California, they were just spoke so highly of the organization and the support that you receive. So decide what's right for you. There are different organizations out there. Just make sure that you are receiving a facility dog and not a therapy dog. Okay, again, that difference. Next thing was developing an operations manual. This included all of our procedures, Facility use, if you are using the dog in research of any kind, you want to make sure that your facility doesn't have anything in place that you need to follow, because a lot of things they do, of course, at the university, they definitely did. And then also included in that operations manual, we had a budget for travel, startup supplies, equipment, all of that stuff went into the operations manual. And again, I was fortunate to be able to receive one that then we were able to kind of use as a template and make it work for us. So I'm happy to share again, whatever we have, we're happy to share with whoever wants to email and let us know, or I can provide that to Meg and then she can kind of send it out too, because it's a public document. Okay, so the other one was our next step 5, seek support from administration. And so again, this takes time. So don't underestimate the amount of time that this can take. So whether it's you can write a grant to start the program, and that maybe that provides you even just a staff member, maybe for 20 hours over the course of maybe 6 months or something like that, just to assist you, or reassign time if you're working in a place that, oh, well, we can give you this person for a certain amount of time so that you can work on this, because it is a lot of writing and interviewing and coordinating. So if that's stuff that you like to do, you might be ready to be an administrator of the program. Here's our 10 steps continued. 6, understand and address facility requirements. So of course, risk management requirements, contracts, MOUs, insurance, building use requirements, all of these many steps kind of fit into this step 6. So starting out with your risk manager at the facility, Canine Companions was a wonderful partner to work with with the MOU. We went back and forth, found what each partner needed. Their dogs actually come with an insurance policy, because Canine Companions actually retains ownership of the dog, right? So that's kind of a little bit different, where we don't actually own the dog, which was important for our university, because it puts it over into a whole different category if the university owned the dog. So that was actually a big plus for us, is that we don't own the dog, but then also Canine Companions does a lot of check-in, and then they can, if the dog wasn't being treated well, then they could reclaim the dog, basically. So that's understanding all those facility requirements, very important. Completing the interview and application process with that certifying animal agency. I have some really specific steps, so I won't go into this too much, but just know that there is a process. There's initial interview, there's home study, which as far as asks you a ton of questions about where the dog's going to be sleeping, if you have animals in your home, and that will vary a lot depending on the certifying agency. So we'll speak to Canine Companions process, because that's the process we know. Other ones may be less, other ones may be more, but this one is the one that we went through, and it was just stellar, actually a really positive process. 8, this is another big step that takes a lot of time. So as the administrator, when the dog handlers are like getting ready and preparing and training, I was creating this media plan with a logo and education for the department staff, so that we could send out to department about like, oh, we're going to get a facility dog, and what's the difference between a facility dog and a therapy dog. Outreaching to the communications team. So your marketing team will be all over this. I'm just letting you know. This actually took a lot of time. We had a photo shoot. We wrote press releases. We actually created a schedule on Outlook for Rossi. Yes, Rossi has his own Outlook calendar. And that was to really track our time, because it really is a lot more time. So I don't want to confuse that. We have 3 people working on this, and it's still a lot. So that's the next one. Don't skip over that step. Number 9, handlers complete the training. So they actually go to a training facility with Canine Companions and stay there overnight for a week. And during that time, they'll do community outings. They take tests. They do demonstrations. And then you're also matched with the dog during that point. So we didn't know what dog we were getting before we got there, because they actually match with the personality of the handlers, and then also match with the facility needs. Yay, number 10, travel to pick up the dog. This also has steps. So depending on how far you're going, facility dogs can't just fly on airplanes like service dogs. You actually have to receive special permission, because again, a service dog is assisting a person with a disability. A facility dog is trained. However, he's not currently assisting a person. Our handlers don't have disabilities. So that was more steps with the Department of Transportation, and then just getting all the travel stuff put together. So those are the 10 steps. And again, we're actually working on some articles right now that'll go into different journals and different trade magazines so that we can kind of push this information out to people so that they have it all printed. So you follow the steps and now you have a facility dog. Yay! You have your own Rossi. Woo-hoo. So now I'm going to turn it over to Tara because she's going to talk about the benefits.
And then you just panic at that point, just panic a little bit. So we actually brought Rossi back here in May, at the end of May, and spent the summer really kind of orientating him to the work of a facility dog, although we didn't have a lot of students. And so the training continues when you bring your facility dog back with you. So it's important to kind of think about the next slides as like one of the things that happens for you when you are interviewing with the agency is that they're really asking you, like, what is this dog going to do? How do you want to use this in your space? And what does that look like in your space? And so like, what kinds of skills and techniques does this particular match need to be? And so that's some of those important things that you're doing before you get there. And then you're getting back home with the dog and then you're like, oh, this is real. Like now we got to do a thing. So many of you have had therapy dogs in your environment and that's very short term, right? Like an hour at a time, or you've got that volunteer walking around. In this case, we're really thinking a little bit differently about those interventions and like how to build protocols so that we can impact some of these domains of well-being. And so one of the things that we did is that both Laura and I used Rossi in clinics this fall with clients. So we really are just kind of involved in thinking about, well, how do we involve clients in this as well as our students, and how do we get students to think about what can we do with these clients? So we did lots of different things and we just continue to learn. It's like we're not done learning at all with this process. And so I think that makes it a little bit uncomfortable as a dog handler and as a facilitator. I'll just be, really transparent about that. But what you just are doing is just kind of thinking about how can, like you do anytime when you're utilizing activity in some sort of intervention, is it's just thinking about like, well, what do my clients need? How can I involve this additional modality in the work? And so we did lots of sort of interesting things, but things to think about is like, how do you keep your clients involved and how do you want to help motivate clients in their therapy and in their in those interventions and those groups that you're doing? So are you taking folks out? Are you thinking about transportation? Are you thinking about how to help folks be in recovery, how to help folks be more mindful? So really, there's lots of options as we kind of think and do this work. So I'm just sort of like throwing that information out there. So things that we really things I thought about, at least as the planner and facilitator of what I did as a neurocognitive group this fall. And we had maybe like 7 or 8 participants along with some caregivers and then students in the clinic. And so we really kind of embarked on ideas around both physical, like what are some things that we can incorporate into the work that we're doing with these clients. So we're thinking about fine and gross motor skills. We're looking at, we didn't do a lot of strength training, but absolutely something to think about: posture, ambulation, sensory experiences. We did a lot with sort of that trifecta as you think about memory and impacting memory and a neuro kind of, so that neuro work that we were doing. So it was like social connections, physical engagement, and like learning or this curiosity. So we did a whole lot around that using the dog. Communication and interaction. So Rossi would greet everyone. Initially, we involved Rossi in some of the activities. I had students sort of design activities that he could do part of or be a part of. So for us, that really looked like more tabletop games or activities, but as you think about what you're doing in your agency, it could be any number of things. We took a photo of Rossi with each individual and made a button, sent them home with a button of Rossi. So again, it was like that continued connection to continue making those connections. I guess every group was really just this opportunity for folks to reorientate them. So he became sort of like a bit of a grounding experience for them. He also allowed for some caregivers to sort of leave the space and walk around campus or take a break for themselves. And because their loved one was really more engaged or engaged enough in the activity, they were not as in need of that caregiver in those moments. So that was a real win-win. The dogs themselves, in terms of the training, they do have several commands that really kind of align with emotional or affective improvement. So this becomes a really important part probably of the work. It's not the only part of the work, and we want to be careful not to overtax the dog, but stress, I saw this for my students, just him being in the classroom, there's like watching him sleep seemed to be more exciting than listening to me talk, of course. But I had students this fall who were really, I would say, sort of a bit dysregulated, and his presence, and he wasn't part of the class, he was just like literally hanging out with me as a handler. They were markedly more calm when he was in class with us those days. So can we do things to support folks being just more emotionally agile? Can we talk about emotions, or at least have people like be more aware of their emotions, and starting here, because this tends to be a positive emotion. Cognition. So we used a lot of animal themed kind of work and interventions along with Rossi. And so this became really kind of a fun and interesting way to involve the theme of animal, but also have the dog with us. And so problem solving, language, students were explaining, re-explaining. We had a really unique group of participants. So we had someone who was visually impaired. We had folks different levels in terms of their cognition and memory. We had folks who were also wheelchair users. And so it was like just the whole gamut, like the whole scene. And initially as a facilitator, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into here? But we did some fun things, like we were able to use the Braille machine at our access center to create adapted types of activity for our individual who was here, and that like kind of parlayed or intersected with the cognition, so students could use this intervention along with the dog differently. So those are some fun ways that we kind of involved the cognitive side of that, and it became really important. But at the same time, those relationships in the space became, I think, really memorable, and what really sort of supported the work that we were doing this semester. Like I talked a little bit about motivation, so interest, participation. I'm in the class, and so one of the beauty of this is that I'm also working with students, and I made these little Rossi coins, and when people answered questions, I got Rossi coins, and then I had no idea what I was going to do with these Rossi coins. But by the end of the semester, I was like, okay, I got to figure out some sort of reward. And so the last week of class, folks who had Rossi coins actually got to have like a little lap session, or a little like snuggle session with Rossi. And so that was like an additional kind of way to utilize him to generate interest, to generate participation. Students aren't all that different than the clients we have out there, like these are humans, right? So the idea that maybe we can reward this effort of taking risks or giving it a try, or being in environments that are uncomfortable, is important to growth for both young folks, but also older adults, right? So we want people to be curious in their environments. We want them to wonder about things. That's what helps people feel more open, feel less anxious, feel more lean into experiences of day-to-day life. And so those are some of the things that really stood out to me in terms of that work. And I think the other piece of this is just like, there's more for me to learn. And so this is a huge risk to do this. I mean, like, yeah, I have a dog that is not well trained at my house. And so it was a scary experience, but also a really rewarding experience, and really something that I'd never experienced, to be also graduating with this dog in the presence of other individuals who were getting their service dogs, and to see this powerful interaction and between the service dog and their match, but also the facilities that were at this agency and what we were going to be doing with our match wherever we landed and went. And so it was fun, but I'm not going to lie, it has been a lot of work. It's been work I didn't anticipate. There's definitely times I've had to really say no and like be firm. And there are other times where I'm like, come back to my office and I'm like, oh, just like land on the floor. I think Jen said, I've never seen you on the floor so much. Well, that's a true story. I'm on the floor with the dog because like I'd like to nap here with him, but no, I must carry on. So that is just a little bit of the journey this semester. I can just talk a little bit about that because that's what I've got to think about. But so next,
Yeah.
I'm going to demonstrate.
Yep. So Tara's going to get set up. We are using, as you can see, we have a panoramic view. And so we are going to move this camera. And like I said, this is the first time we've done a webinar with Crosse. So we'll just see how this goes. That's kind of, yeah, it's been the theme of the year. We'll just see how this goes. So we're going to move over the camera, and then Tara's going to demonstrate some of the things that, some of the tools that she's used with clients, and then also some of the commands that she can, so that you can kind of see what the facility dog can do. Okay, so we're just going to set up. Do you want this camera
Yeah, I'm
right
just
here
gonna-
still?
Crosse, up. That's it. Hi, guys. We're ready to go. Here we go. Let's go. All right, let's go. Yes. All right, I think that camera maybe.
Hold it over here.
Or it could be on a chair.
Hold on.
So I will probably have to keep talking, which might be slightly annoying, so that you're able to see Crosse. But we are gonna head to, oftentimes I did demo several things that Crosse could do in terms of improved independence for clients. So what I'm gonna have him do is just show you how he tugs at a door. So Crosse, this way. Oh shoot. That is not following me. Oh, here we go. Crosse. Yeah. Oh, tug. That's it. Good job. Good job, buddy. Good job. So he is trained to grab a hold of items like doors, and you can pull them open. All right, what I have in front of me is sort of this homemade gizmo of Kahoot. So Crosse, get. And what I'm gonna have him do is tug. That's it. He's like tugging out a dowel from that tool or that game. And so we can have him participate with the clients doing that. I think we're gonna have to actually put that up.
Put up.
Yeah. So sorry, y'all. Thanks for being patient. The other thing that I have used with him is a really big ball. So he's able to kind of push this ball along the ground. He can also do smaller balls. I will tell you, this was a very much difficult trajectory. And so he didn't come to us knowing how to do that. So we really had to think about how can we do this differently, or how can we teach him to do this? So that took several months of training daily to like get him to do this, because he just wanted to bite it. But what I did was I used this huge ball, and we could use an exercise ball. So I pushed it around to clients so they would answer or ask questions. But I will show you, maybe you could tip that down. So there we go. All right, Crosse, push. That's it, push. That's it. Yes. Job, buddy. And the other things that we have him doing, or we could do in a therapy setting. So this is an octoband. And so this is also something we kind of keep working on. So they're trained to tug, right? So when they're working with their handlers, or you've got a service dog, so you're tugging open things, or grabbing things, or pulling things. And then there's a natural end to that, right? Well, in therapy, if you're wanting tugging, the hard part is just for them to sustain that. So we have been working on this, but we do not have it down. Rossi, get, hold, Rossi, tug, that's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. Okay. Oh, good job. Good job. So we could have clients with this or octo band or any number of bands, so he can tug and help with things like physical balance and opportunities to do that. We also did a fair amount of work with him just to try to have him hold on to cards and deliver them to clients. So let me see. I would oftentimes in class, I might put some treats in a basket and have him, Rossi, get, hold, and we could kind of carry the basket.
That one didn't work.
Up here, let's see. This way. Yes. It's done. And then he can deliver things so people could reach into the basket and grab what they needed out of the basket. I don't know where that little. Oh, okay, straighten that up. So maybe put that back in there. So the other thing is like, we kind of had sets of cards where we laminated those, and then he was able to grab hold of those cards and deliver them to folks. Ring toss, noodles. I've got a couple of puzzles that I kind of glued things to and allowed him to deliver those pieces for folks. Jen, I'm gonna give you this end. We also have like created a row of, it's like sort of a rope, like a jump rope. And that would allow Rossi to grab something like this and deliver it to the client. So Rossi, get, hold,
This is a full noodle.
and I would bring it over, give, and that client could now sort of thread that. He could also hold on to this rope for a little while. So that might be something else that we could kind of do. I missed anything?
The spin the wheel.
Oh, we did try to, let's see. Let me maybe put it right here.
It's capturing actually really good.
Okay.
On the wheel. Well, let me stop talking then.
So, Rossi, we have this little wheel, and I put together sort of a laminated, bunch of commands that he comes with or he's trained with. And then we did spend a fair amount of time.
Jen and Tara, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you stop the screen share, because then we might be able to see more of the demonstration. I'm realizing that now.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, first time.
Okay.
Oh, much better, much better.
Yeah.
Okay, Rossi.
Cool.
Rossi, up. Up. So he is up here next to me, and then the command is really just kind of high. And what he should do, it's just not a very bad angle, is Rossi, hi, nope, Rossi, up. Rossi, up, yes, it, Rossi, hi, yes, there we go. This is a little bit of an awkward, so let's go, so Rossi, hi, say hi, say hi, say hi, come on, come on, yes, and then we're gonna catch his paw, and that spins. So it's a little easier on the ground, but we're not getting such good reception on the ground. So, and then the other thing is just really rewarding him. So we're like, this ball is really kind of going to be his reward after kind of working and showing you all what he can do. So I think before I was showing you, so these are things like I could give him something from the table. So Rossi, get, hold, off, and he can deliver that somewhere to somebody. Same with the pieces of the puzzle. So these are things that he could pick up because I was able to I don't know, that's picking you up now. So he's able to grab or pick up these things and deliver them to someone, and then we've got like, they're a little bit raised, and so you're able to kind of put them into that puzzle piece.
And this is just, so it's just because we are all rec therapists and activity professionals. This is literally like a foam piece off of a pool noodle, and then kids puzzles. And so that it's just a chunk of foam that's put on that wooden peg piece. So it gives it a little bit bigger of a piece so that Rossi can grab the actual piece of the puzzle and hand it to the participant. The motivation factor cannot be overexpressed. And then Tara's got a coloring sheet.
And so the other thing that we did, or we kind of try to think about, well, what else could motivate people even if they didn't like the dog or didn't want to interact with the dog. So we did things like took a picture of Rossi and used an app to create a coloring page. We also did that with the robotic animals. So this is kind of like, I know this is a very fast demo, and I'm sorry about the quality, but it does give you just a little idea about, gosh, you can do all these commands, and you're really thinking differently about commands in terms of like, well, what can we do as a therapist to engage that client in that work? So, voila.
So, and again, when we started out, that was the biggest, one of the biggest barriers, is that we couldn't find sessions, right? Start to finish sessions for facility dogs. There was a lot out there for animal assisted therapy, like therapy dogs. And so, but there weren't these like actual interventions that we found specifically for older adults and neurocognitive.
And just lots of one-to-one work.
Lots of
hardly
one-to-one,
any group work.
hardly any group work. So that's why we kind of, again, want to kind of put it forth. So we're going to keep sharing this one. There we go. So that we can kind of continue. So thank you, Tara. And thanks. Like we said, we've never done this webinar, but we did want to show, because we're such visual people, right? How that actually looks when you're, how you could have it look in groups. So this is the deep dive into the facility dog application that we'll just go through so that you have all the information. In all actuality, it's usually about 2.5 years. So it does give you some time. Now, one of the things with COVID was that there was actually a decrease in people applying for facility dogs. So we just kind of hit it at the right time. Our university was really open to innovation and innovative projects. We were opening the research center. So our example of like 1 year start to finish is not typical. So it's about 2.5 years. This gives you the whole like online application process. You have weeks of this, a month of this, waiting for this, 6 months for this. And then you have to stay on the list. Like you have to say, oh yeah, we're interested in staying on the list. And again, it's about 2.5 years, the average wait time. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not ready to start on this. If you're thinking 2.5 years out, that's really what it is. So there's an application that's mailed to you. You'll find this all out. Again, we recommend the 2 facilitators, hands down. That was really a big thing for us. Now, I do know people that have the one, but they do have the backup just in case. So if it's like, oh, well, I'm only a 1-person thing, you can do that. You don't, not necessarily required, but the dog also stays with the facility. So if you decide to go to a new job, the dog stays with the facility. It does not go with the handler. So that's also a good thing to know. So more about the application packet, some of the things, and again, these are questions for you to think about as you're getting ready to apply, like changing your work routine, looking at your schedule, just all those kind of locked facilities, just what do you have a facility yard that you can use? Just all of that are questions that they will ask you on the application. More about household information, house study. You can have a dog at home. That's another thing I didn't know, that it's like, oh, well, what about you have a dog at home already? You can do that. They just ask you questions about that as well. So team training and responsibilities. You do spend a week at the regional center with canine companions. The dogs do come fully trained. However, as Tara mentioned, the dogs have, about 40 commands that they know. However, if you're using this specific in this kind of push, you want him to push a big ball, that's going to take some time on your end once the dog is here. So it doesn't just like, oh, it's this magical thing. And also they, you know, testing, you do take tests at the facility, but they want you to graduate, but they also want to make sure that you have the support and the knowledge and the understanding that this is a lot. So lastly, they do have a graduation ceremony. I will tell you that Tara and Laura traveled in the midst of everything else going on. And I was that administrator at home, watching in my basement, just crying when they're walking across the stage, graduating. It's powerful. So the amount of morale that it added to our team was amazing. And it really just jump-started this entire research center, I'll be honest. So very cool. They do have follow-up with Canine Companions. There's telephone support. It's about 6 years that Rossi will be working. And Canine Companions does maintain the ownership of that dog. Again, you didn't purchase the dog in any way. So that's just sometimes you do, but the Canine Companions, you don't. So it's all done through donation. So I do want to put in a little plug for Canine Companions. If you're looking for a place to donate, like doing any kind of fundraiser for them, they are just an amazing organization who change lives every day with these dogs. And we've seen so many of our students do this already. So that's the process. Is more financial considerations. These are all the finances, grooming, licensing, everything else. Whoop, okay, I have to go fast, but not that fast. Okay, so you're thinking about a facility dog, but it seems overwhelming. This is just too much. Puppy raising might be a good first step because it's not like a thing that you have to commit to as far as a dog for 6 years. There is an application process. It's a much faster application process. And then you would actually have a dog that you're training for Canine Companions in your facility. And so the time commitment is 13 to 16 or 17 months at a time. And then you actually give that dog back, because then that dog will actually go on to be a service dog or a facility dog. So that's a great way to kind of do it. I also had a friend that was using puppy raising for an intervention with her clients. So also a great way to kind of introduce more. If it's like, oh, well, I don't have all this time, or I am not just ready to commit, this is another great way. So this is for the person that's like, oh, you're not able to have animal assisted interventions, or you aren't ready to take on something out that big. How about socially assisted robots? Whoop. So these, if you haven't seen socially assisted robots, the demo will be easier on this because they don't move around as much. A lot of you probably have seen these. These are the ones that are off of Amazon. They're Joy for All. They are about $130, and they turn on underneath. They have like an on-off switch, and then they have sensors in them. So they respond. Oh, look at that. They respond to touch because they do have sensors in them. The cat is actually the cat was more popular even than the dog.
The cat's where it's
purring.
at. It purrs.
Yep. And then the cat will like roll on its back a little bit. If it was sitting down, I'm trying to hold it in front of the camera, but it does roll on its back when you really do get it going, and just lets it know how much you love it. So this is also a great kind of entry into doing some animal assisted interventions. There has been some great research, although not great, again, protocols or sessions, especially for groups. There's some great one-to-one. They've been doing some tracking and all that kind of research, awesome stuff. However, if we want to go to the next slide, I'll show you. Oh, here's the big thing. Our university has created an evidence-based curriculum website where we're actually, this cat is actually very pleasing. Oh, the dog too. I want to give the dog some play. Oh, I shouldn't pick that. It's here, but I couldn't reach. Okay, so maybe Tara can hold that. So we have now, we've created an open access website, and all the curriculum that our graduate students create, they create curriculums that are all evidence-based, 8 sessions, and it's all free to you guys. So you can download the entire, there's a manual on there. There's a 1-hour staff training. You can absolutely use any of that on there. So the one for the socially assisted robots is coming out June 1st of 2024. There is a QR code if you want to just visit the site now. All the curriculums we have are listed on there. They're for a variety of populations, from children to older adults. So there's a therapeutic gardening, there's therapeutic cooking, there's boom whackers. If you haven't seen that, it's really awesome. But those are all there for you guys for advancing the field, and it's all free. You can download everything. There's assessments on there. You can download everything you need for that. So Here's some examples because we did promise some examples. So these were group Mad Libs, hygiene groups, art groups, animal naming, very popular because you got to have a contest. So we actually have Norma and Dawson as far as our animals here. They were named after rec therapy icons. Storytelling or book writing, reminiscing about animals. But these are great because, again, if you don't have the capacity to do a live animal, these are a great startup. There's been some great information too in the research studies on agitation and aggressive behaviors and using these as an intervention. So last but not least, questions. We want to kind of hear from you guys. What else do you want to know? We do have some questions in the chat, and I'm going to turn that over to Charles so that, yeah, we can stop share. And then Charles has some questions, Q&A.
That was quite amazing. I'm quite amazed by the amount of quality education you can place in less than an hour, both of you. No, so there was a great amount of chat. One question was very simple. Somebody's in the process of putting a proposal together for a facility dog. Do you have any example proposal you can share?
Yep, absolutely. Is the best way to get that? Charles, do you send stuff out, or is it better for them to contact me? Or?
Yeah. Why don't I do this? Let me flash your contacts. So unfortunately, the attendee is anonymous attendee.
Oh,
but
okay.
hopefully that person will see. Basically, the emails are from both Jen and Tara flashed on the screen here. So feel free to contact them.
Yeah, perfect. And you know what? I should put those on there, and I could share that actually on our website. That's a great idea. I've never been asked that, like how to get that. So they could even I'll put those up probably later on this week, and then you can go on there and then just grab them off of there, just download it. Because like I said, we're all about information sharing because we wish that we would have known stuff when we were, starting out. So anything that we can do to help spread the word on this, and we'd be happy to. So use that QR code. I'll put it up.
Cool. Another quick question was, how do you provide for downtime? Basically, the person is saying that in one of the community where she was working at, the dog within a few years got overstimulated and at one point would not react appropriately sometimes with people who would walk to him or it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the challenges. And so they definitely at training, we learn a lot about that. So one of the other questions was like, what are my credentials? So the facility dogs, they are looking for folks who, work in schools, or they are credentialed in some way. So my credentials are, I'm certified as a recreation therapist and a health education specialist. So, but in terms of like dog handling, am I a specialist to that? No, I'm not. So this is really like you getting trained on the dog, and they do keep tabs on the dog. And one of the benefits to canine companions is like, let's say, oh, he's not very motivated, or he's like, for example, this last couple of weeks, he hasn't been very motivated, student energy, and they like sort of the stress zaps him. So they talk a lot about like, emotions sort of travel down your arm, down the leash to the dog. And so that is one of the benefits of this agency, is that you have them at a phone call to talk through training challenges and ideas to help with that motivation. So for us, that has been really helpful. And we meet once a month with the other facility dog folks who graduated with us and ask questions of the trainer and the outreach coordinator.
Yeah. And then from the administration standpoint, we actually had to provide a schedule that Canine Companions lays out for you with breaks built in, with this is how much downtime, this is how much rest time, this is how much they toilet, this is when they drink water. So it's really detailed. And so and again, these dogs are bred for this. These are not a therapy dog that you have your own personal dog from home and go get it certified. They are actually bred for being a facility dog. So why would you have a facility dog over a therapy dog that you brought in your own dog from home? Well, they're really trained for like doing service, right? And for assisting people with disabilities. So your dog from home, although great and provide that emotional support, maybe your dog from home is not trained to open a refrigerator, to assist with laundry, to help you put on your shoes, to pull a wheelchair, to do these things that it goes above and beyond the therapy aspect, like the just emotional aspect of it. This is really learning tasks. So what we've seen from clients too is that they had no idea that they could have a service dog, right? They didn't know what the service dog did really. They thought maybe it was only for people who were blind. And so this provided a whole lot of information for, it's like, oh, wow, he can pick up my cell phone off the floor. He can, get me a beer from the fridge, those handy things, in all kidding, but also like he can open the refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that people understand the difference between, this is not a dog that is your personal canine from home. These are highly trained animals that do the commands of service dogs.
Right. Well, thank you so much for answering these questions. We're now at time, so it is time for me to thank you so much, Jen, for coming back to Activity Strong. This was an amazing topic. Yeah, Tara, thank you so much also. And last but not least, Rossi, thank you so much for participating. That was awesome. I love it.
He's on a rest right now.
That was amazing.
So yes, definitely those are things to consider in that scheduling part of it. So thank you so much, Charles, for having us. And we are going to be going around to some different organizations, conferences and whatnot with Rossi, so that we want to just provide more information.
Absolutely. Wishing you an amazing end of year, an amazing 2024. And I'm sure we'll get to speak very, very quickly. Thank you so much, the three of you.
Thank you so much. And happy holidays, everyone. And
happy holidays.
Go out there and try a little something with animals. You won't regret it. I promise.
Yeah. Everyone, it is now time to wrap up this webinar. We just have a few announcements. One of them is obviously our upcoming webinars. So we have an interesting webinar on January 5th. And I think there might be a mistake, actually. It might be January 9th. So this is a January 9th event called State of Resident Engagement, where we'll be discussing kind of a wrap up of 2023 and what we see in terms of trends for 2024. We have a great webinar talking about the success and lessons learned from Resident Engagement Champion. We're going to be focusing on Montessori, how it's used by an organization led by Jamie Johnson from Merrill Garden, with the assistance of Stacey Flynn, who works with the Center for Applied Research in Dementia. And last but not least, we have an amazing event. We are partnering for the third time with the Validation Training Institute to bring to you all the third World Congress for the validation method. It's going to be a half-day event. One of the reasons why I'm so excited about this particular event is that we are building as much as we can the event with people living with cognitive change. So they are included, and the first session is actually going to be at least 2, 3, perhaps maybe 4 people living with cognitive change. And we've had them in, July? They come from us with the National Coalition of Dementia Minds, and they were so great that we decided to do it again, and Validation is pleased to host them. So with that, last time, Jen, Tara, Rossi, thank you for being with us. Everyone, wonderful holidays and happy holidays. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.